Hi, good people. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another podcast. My name is Nyawira Mureithi, and I hope we get to work together in today's podcast. So far we've done 3 podcasts. We've done about sexual abuse. We've done about is gospel music supposed to be boring, and we've also done about demonstrations. So today I would like us to talk about child abuse. But before we move on, we would like to know who is a child. We can say a child is any human being that is below the age of 18 years, at least that is in Kenya, because we know that we have other countries where they have the limit is a bit lower, not 18 years. For us, it's relatively high in age. So I can actually say that child abuse basically is like the rights of that child, they are not being observed. A person who is below 18 years, what do you expect them to be? Because they are a child, you don't expect them to get married. You find that maybe the clan, a certain tribe, or maybe a family, you just marry off your daughter, and she's so young, and probably she's getting married off as a second wife, third wife, fourth wife, fifth wife. Yeah. And this is a girl who is 13 years old. That is actually a child. If someone has sex with someone that is younger than the 18 years, that's we can call it's a rape basically, as much as that child agreed. So that is child abuse in short. Children have their rights, and they have the right to free education, to food, to shelter, and healthcare. We understand watu hawakuangi the same, yeah, and you might not be able to provide almost everything, especially if your pocket is not that well off, because as we know, like everything is just money, shelter, food, like you just need money to be able to do that. But now we thank the government because it has actually provided free education for our children. And the good thing is there's some schools, especially the government one, children can even be provided lunch. Yes, they're provided for the food there. So that child, maybe the best you can do is just give them probably breakfast and supper. Yes. Like we've seen scenarios on TV and even on vlogs and on articles and newspapers whereby probably this child, the parent passed on, especially probably the female, and they have a foster parent, or rather probably they have a step parent. Wanatesa tu huyo mtoi tu hivyo, unapata mtoto anapigwa. I think there was some time back I saw such a news item whereby mtoto anatoa tu nguo kwa mgongo, unaona tu yani venye tu alipigwa tu hizo. You can actually even see like yani vile tu alikuwa anapigwa slap, anapigwa na hiyo mshipi, zimejichora tu. That is child abuse. Because why would you want to piga a child until he or she has those marks? Ni ile tu kidogo ya kudiscipline tukimove. That is also child abuse. Because basically, ukianza kupiga mtoi mpaka anakuwa na vidonda kwa mwili, is that really kurekebisha tabia? Ama that is mateso. That is child abuse. Yes? We've seen children inquiries minds, A child, like we said, is someone that is below 18 years. So unapata mtoto wa 13 years. Anaingia huko kwa hizo minds, huko kwa quarries, huko chini. It's not even just in Western in Kenya, even in other countries, we've seen children, child soldiers. Watoto na wanatumika kwa battle. That is child abuse. Watoto wanapatiwa guns, wanaenda kufight magangs huko nje. Huyo ni mtu anatumia watoto vibaya. That is child abuse. Mtoto anaenda aje kwa mine? Anaenda kumine gold. It's because someone knows, because that is a child na hajui rights zake na hajui the value of that gold. Anataka kumwabuse. So anaweza kitu yenye huu mtu huyu angeuza. Mtu mkubwa angeuza kitu kama let's say 1,000. Huu mtoto atauziwa so. Na akubali. Na atafanya hiyo kazi ngumu. Na hizo quarries wakienda kumine. He's just a child. wanaweza angukiwa hata na hizo mines huko ndani. I mean, we've even seen big people wakiangukiwa na mines, but that's a child. And even the FGM, I mean, how do you even circumcise a baby girl who is like around 10, 12 years and then you think they're ready for marriage? Is that even a child? And we are talking about their reproductive health here. Is that child really mature enough to make decisions for herself in regards to that? The children's rights, according to the Constitution of Kenya, Chapter 4, which is famously known for Bill of Rights, Articles 53, it clearly stipulates children's rights as follows. Every child has the right to a name and nationality from birth, to free and compulsory basic education. And the good thing is, like I said, our government provides exactly that, to basic nutrition, shelter, and health care, to be protected from abuse, neglect, harmful cultural practices, all forms of violence, inhuman treatment and punishment, and hazardous or exploitative labor. Also, another right is to parental care and protection, which includes equal responsibility of the mother and father to provide for the child, whether they're married to each other or not. So basically, this means this brings actually the aspect of co-parenting, and we've seen people co-parent. So it just brings equal responsibility of the mother and father, and we will all agree, hakuna mtoto ni wa hewa. There's a father, there's a mother. So the equal responsibilities of the father and mother to provide for the child, whether they're married to each other or not. I mean, they don't have to be married. Things don't work. Yeah, and things do happen. But they're still the parent of that child. So they have to take care of those children or that child. Another right is to be detained, except as a measure of last resort, and when detained, to be held for the shortest appropriate period of time and separate from adults and in conditions that take account of the child's sex and age. How would you know that a child has faced child abuse? Yes. These are just some of the signs that you can actually tell. So if a child has become withdrawn, a child that was just so talkative, a child that used to love people, a child that used to brighten up when everyone else is around, and now that child has become withdrawn, they don't talk anymore. They've become like introverts. So you just think that child is introvert. No, probably they're just defending themselves, or rather to just create that barrier to just protect themselves, and probably they're not okay. Another thing is a child that lacks social skills and has few friends. Because you see, this is a child, and a child most of the time they're so innocent. Life our beat, especially when you become big, and life beats you, and then probably by that time you realize most people don't really want the best for you. Maybe most people don't really, and of course that time you choose to cut people. Basically, it's so deliberate for you when you mature. When you mature, basically you're just so deliberate on cutting off people who don't add value in your life. You know, a child is just so innocent, so they just go on loving everyone. So this child doesn't have social skills and they don't even have friends. What does that tell you about it? Unless it's a child that probably has grown in maybe a closed community. But if this is a child that comes from where we have so many people around, yes, we have so many people around, and that child doesn't even talk. And probably that child used to talk. So what's the problem? Another thing is, that child knows so much of issues inappropriate for their age. Like we're talking about a child that is 2 years, 3 years, but watoto siku hizi we will agree ni wajuaji sana. They know so much. Yeah. Especially sometimes being poor and maybe lacking finances, it can also contribute to the same, because probably you're supposed to stay in a single room because you can't afford, and you have this child that is big, and of course you and your wife, you're there and you're being intimate, and of course watoto siku hizi ni wajuaji, like I said. So watajifanya tu wamelala but wanachungulia, and then when they go outside there, hey, utachomewa majina. Yeah. But if at all this child comes from somewhere in a proper home, probably where they are staying in a separate room, and you as the parents, you've really taken measures to make sure Your intimate moments are just your intimate moments, and your child moments are just your parent and child moments. Why is it that they know so much? A child that is 2 years is just going to trying sijui telling their friends, oh kasusu, I don't know what, and they're just trying to play cha baba cha mama. Where did they learn that? I remember seeing a scenario one time. A boy went to the cousin and was just having a small meeting, and that boy would actually tell the cousin, ati top auntie, top auntie. Until I walked in and I found them, I don't know what. And it was so embarrassing because I'm thinking, where did these children learn that? Where did these children learn that? 3-year-old children and 2.5 years children who have not even gone for baby class. We're talking about mtoto mwenye amemaliza tu kunyonya tu juzi. Ndo watu wanaambiana sijui toa panti sijui nini kulalie. Where did they know that? That is child abuse, or rather, probably even us as parents, we're not trying to protect our privacy. Because you see, yes, we are humans. We are intimate. I mean, we are still human beings. We have feelings. We are married. It is obvious. I mean, some things just have to happen. But where does that place our children? Are we protecting them from that? Because you see, we don't want to raise kids where at the age of 3, they already know sex, that they're practicing. By the time a child is, I don't know, 6 years, they're addicted. A child is 10 years. We would seem total tena. I know our generation will not be the same as our children also, but I mean, we just need to protect them and give them that safer space whereby they will feel when it is safer for them to start practicing such. Otherwise, they will not feel the pressure to do it because they see us as parents. They see us as the people who are supposed to set examples doing that. And I remember there's a couple friend of mine, and they were they stay in a single room, and I was really talking to them. And I remember this is what they actually told me, that they make sure the child is maybe outside, or rather mnampea na lezi atakani kwa neighbor naenda kucheza cheza, then mafanya vitu zenu. But you just make sure the child is totally asleep. Because watoto wa siku hizi, like then I say, they're just wajuaji. And then you will just think you're raising an innocent kid, but when they go outside there, watakuaibisha tu. You're going to raise a child whereby vitu zingine hatafanya mbele yako, but ataenda huko nje na atakuwa anazifanya. And by the time you realize that, probably that child ashaanza kutumika mpaka na neighbors and all that, especially let's say if it's a girl child. Mtu anakuwa hata na mimba akiwa 12 years old. Is that the kind of children we want to raise? Is that the kind of family that we want to raise? I believe hakuna religion and you teach watu wakue immoral. But I believe we need to just bring up our children in a safer space whereby when it reaches a certain age, they're going to make that decision for themselves if they really want to abstain, stick to their values, abstain till marriage, or have safe sex. It's as simple as that. So, thank you for listening up to me. I believe it is our duty for the people who have children and for us who don't have in future. I mean, when we have kids, it is our responsibility to protect our children and to bring them up in a safer space where they're going to grow and just be responsible adults, that we will be good examples of what we would love to see in tomorrow's society. Thank you very much. Good times. Shalom.